Good evening, friends. Here at the Neoquímica Arena, Corinthians was eliminated by Internacional in the Copa do Brasil. In a match where Corinthians pressed, had possession of the ball, and attacked Internacional's team a lot, but the match played there in Rio Grande do Sul made it much more difficult for Corinthians to overturn the score here at the Neoquímica Arena. Starting with Corinthians lineup, coach Fernando Diniz chose to use the striker Pedro Raul up front and not Guy Negão, who was the player that played in Rio Grande do Sul. Pedro Raul had a quiet game. He scored a goal, scored in the second half, but minutes before scoring, Pedro Raul missed another chance, so it was a discreet match from Pedro Raul, but it could be important for him and he will continue. This goal boosted the players' confidence. Anyway, the rest of the Corinthians team is pretty much the same lineup that we were used to seeing from the Corinthians team. The first few minutes for Corinthians here at Neoquímica Arena were full of pressure against the team in red. They put a lot of pressure, forcing Internacional's goalkeeper Matheus Cunha, if not to make great saves, at least to stay alert. They put a lot of pressure and the reward came. At the end, right at the end of the first half, after a free kick taken by Garo, he's always the one on set pieces, Gustavo Henrique took advantage of the rebound and opened the scoring for Corinthians. Well, in the second half, what we imagined was that Corinthians would put even more pressure on International since they were one goal behind on aggregate. Yeah, the reality is that in practice, International managed, even if just a little, to have a bit more possession and posed more counter-attacking threat to Corinthians. Yeah, unlike the first half when International failed to create plays or connect three passes. Yeah, so International managed to improve a bit in the second half, and with a ball played forward, Alan Patrick, the main playmaker for International, made a good play, passed it to Bernabe, who finished strongly into the corner past goalkeeper Hugo Souza, with a ball that we could say was maybe savable, right? Savable. Actually, goalkeeper Hugo Souza could have made a save, done something better in that play, right? With that ball that was crossed in. Anyway, in the end, Bernabe scored International's first goal in the match with an assist from Alan Patrick, and it kind of deflated, let's say, the Corinthians team for a few minutes. Then, Pedro Raul, who had missed a goal earlier, as I mentioned, scored with a header from a cross by Mateus Bidu, a really nice header on the ball, and made it 2-1, reducing the aggregate score. The big problem is that after that goal, we were already heading into the 30th minute of the second half. Obviously, the nerves kicked in. Corinthians was already starting to get tired. Fernando Diniz had to make changes. He brought on Dieguinho, Mateus Pereira anyway. He kept changing the Corinthians team, brought on Alan, brought on Lingard. Diniz made some changes, but they didn't have the desired effect in the sense of, and now a goal that would take the match to penalties. So the current champion, Corinthians, is eliminated from the Copa do Brasil. Yeah, they were eliminated. Last year they won, beat Vasco in the final. This year they're out in the round of 16 of the Copa do Brasil. Corinthians' season still includes the Libertadores and also the Brazilian Championship, two important tournaments that Corinthians still has ahead. This weekend, Corinthians faces Bragantino. Yeah, they're at the Nabi Abichedid, actually, at the Municipal Stadium in Bragança, not at the Nabi Abichedid, which is under renovation. And next week, they face Rosario Central in the Libertadores. Yeah, it's already an important match. The first game will be in Argentina and the return leg at the Neoquímica Arena. Corinthians team, that's their schedule for the next rounds. And now, as you can hear, International's fans are the ones celebrating over there in the corner. We can see it right there. International's fans are the ones celebrating here at Neoquímica Arena. Corinthians win 2-1, but International are the ones who advance.